Hey guys and gals, it's Monday. I spent yesterday with Chris, all day with Chris, and she slept a lot yesterday. She was asleep when I got there, and to be honest with you, all I did was just sit there and look at her for about 30 minutes. And somebody came in, one of the RNs, and said, "Oh, Jimmy, you slipped in on me." And I said, "Well, I did." And they said, "How's she today?" And I said, "Well, you've been with her more than I have. We can't go in there till 10 o'clock, and we have to leave at 6, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, but that's what the rules are, so that's what we do." And I said, "Well, she's been asleep all the time that I've been here." He said, "Well, they worked her hard this morning. They had her sitting up in a chair for about 3 hours and had her doing quite a bit of stuff. But he said, she's doing good. If you notice, I put a little bit different trach in, and it's actually a little voice trach, so she can actually make some sounds." And I said, "Wow, that's fantastic." And anyway, after about 30 minutes, I was there about 30 minutes, and she finally woke up. And once she woke up, she was just really amazingly there. I guess that's all I can say. She was just amazingly there. Her eyes was bright. She sort of tried to smile, and she realized that she could make a little bit of a sound. And I couldn't understand her, but I told her I loved her, and I said, "Can you tell me I love you? Can you tell me that?" And she tried. She really tried. And I asked her if she could smile, and she sort of tries to smile. You can see her trying to move her lips a little bit. So her brain is healing, and she's coming back. But the biggest thing that I noticed yesterday was, I think, honestly and truly, she understood everything that I was telling her. And I know that Sherry is doing an update on Chris also and posting that I guess it's just it's a deal you punch on there, and I hadn't even punched it to see what she's posting. But I know from reading the comments and answering some of the comments of her post that, a lot of you got the impression that Chris is just really coming along rapidly. And she is improving. There's absolutely no doubt about it. We're seeing differences all the time, and she is improving. But basically, it's 3 weeks today. She had that brain aneurysm around 6 something in the evening. We don't know exactly the time, but I talked to her a little bit after 6, and it was not too long after that Jamie and Jordan found her on the floor in the house, and it looked like, it appeared that she just blacked out and blacked out when she actually hit the floor because she hit her head. And she had some movement in her left hand. Jamie said she reached up and straightened up her glasses, and she could move her left leg. Honestly, that's still all that she can move. Her right leg, she can move it just a little bit. I can move some around and tell her to move that leg, and she kind of raised it a little bit. So that right leg is coming back. So I've got a lot of hope that she'll be able to walk again because of that. And her right arm, we can't really get any movement at all, other than if I pick it up and hold it up over her head, it's sort of, she wants to pull back down on it. So that it might hurt her or something when I do that, because she's got a bad shoulder. And don't you tell her I said this. But I can't remember if it was her right shoulder or left shoulder it was hurt. So I don't know if when I pull it up there, I'm hurting her and she's trying to pull it back down. But that's good, because if she gives some movement with that right arm, it'll be good. But in reality, 3 weeks, and really, she can really only move the same left arm and left leg. She scratches her hair when her head itches. She straightens up her glasses. And Sherry started giving her some of the cards. Y'all have sent in tons of cards and letters, and we appreciate that so much. But she takes those cards and she holds them in her left hand, and she uses her thumb to open them, and she'll look at the front, and then she'll open them, and she looks at them like she's reading them. I took quite a few cards up there yesterday, and about 3 or 4 she did that with, and she'd look at the front, she'd open them, and you could see her eyes kind of move down the page a little bit, like she was actually reading them. So I believe she can still read. I think that she's reading those cards and letters that y'all sent in. And I took one that was a longer card, and it was written this way as opposed to up and down this way. So in other words, it was writing across, and you had to turn, if you had it up this way, everything's written this way. So, and I handed her that card, and she took that card and she opened it and she turned it over where it was, she could read it right. So I really believe she can read. So I think that her mental faculties are coming back. She might even be smarter than she was. Oh Lord, I don't know if I can live with her. But I think her mental faculties are coming back. She seemed to understand about everything that I told her, and that's the most exciting part. But as far as a rapid recovery or things happening quickly, it's not. Jack actually got to spend Saturday with her. It's the first time he'd seen her since she was in Oklahoma City, and he said she's actually not progressing quite as fast as he was thinking that she would, but he said the brain will go at its own pace. And I've had so many of you that have had strokes, had family members had strokes, and told me all kinds of stories. That's so encouraging that it's amazing. My partner here in my ranch, Steve Wells, you know, he had a really bad aneurysm while he was hunting here. Actually, he either got down on the ground and had the aneurysm, or he was getting down out of the stand and had it while he was getting down and fell and hit the ground. But he's walking around up there, had no clue where he was, who he was, or anything. And I was visiting with Steve and Becky yesterday, and they said that when they took him to the hospital in Oklahoma City, the doctor came in and said, "I've got bad news and good news. Which do you want to hear?" And Becky said, "Well, we want to hear the good news." And the doctor said, "The good news is you got him here alive. That's the good news. That's absolutely fantastic. He's alive." She said, "Well, what's the bad news?" And the doctor said, "The bad news is he'll never leave this hospital." And it just crushed them. They just went to their knees. It just crushed them. And you know, it's pretty much the same story we got in Oklahoma City. And Pat Turner, who runs our production company, was telling me this morning that there's so much suing goes on in our society that the doctors almost have to paint the gloomiest picture in the world so that they can't come back. And the doctor said, "Well, they said they'd be fine." You know, so I don't know if that's the reason or not, but it's a pretty good reason. I think Pat had some good thinking there. But so I think that doctors maybe paint the gloomiest picture that you could possibly have, and then whatever you recover to is great. If you think that a person's never going to walk out of that hospital, and one of the things the doctor told us is that Chris would never go home. Can I tell you, Chris is coming home. Promise you. And she's got a long way to go, and it's going to be a long road. It's a marathon. Jack keeps telling us it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. I'm a very impatient person. Y'all have probably figured that out over these years, but I want to see things happening, but I am seeing things, and I'm seeing these little baby steps. And just like up there with those, by the way, she only looked at 3 or 4 cards. She got tired of that game. That game wasn't that much fun to play, but she watched the OU game. They said the OU spring game Saturday. Jack said that he turned that game on, and she watched that game and watched it all, and it seemed to be. I left the Dodger baseball game on last night. When I left, it was coming on, and I left that for her to watch. So, but she is about the same as far as what she can do mechanically with her body. But I think with her mind, she's progressed way up there. And keep in mind when you're reading Sherry's updates, what a optimistic type person she is. I'm very, very optimistic, and she's probably even more optimistic than I am. But it's going to be a battle. Thank you for taking the journey with us. Thank you for your prayers. Your prayers mean the world to Chris and the world to me. And God listens. God listens to prayers of righteous people. And He's listening. God is healing Chris. And one of these days, not too far into the future, and I told her yesterday, "Honey, you're coming back to that ranch. The deer's missing you." And she'll be back here. Jamie's with her today. Sherry's going to be with her tomorrow, and I'm going to get to go being back with her again Wednesday, and I'll try maybe Thursday or so. By the time I get through up there and leave and drive back home, it's so late. It's too late to do any videos or anything unless I stop on the way. And to be honest with you, after I spend 8 hours up there, I'm kind of an emotional wreck. But I'll try to do another update maybe Thursday. But keep praying, keep praising God. I find that when you praise God, I think He pays a whole lot more attention to our prayers. So keep praising God, keep praying, and God is healing Chris. Guys and girls, I love you.